I will proceed to start the recording. Trev, are you ready to do the live event? Okay, let me just, I've lost my button. Sorry, there it is. Okay, leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Evans. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this special meeting of Cabinet on the 21st of April. I will, just before we begin, remind you of the advice note circulated by Tracy Meredith for today's meeting, because we are in the pre-election period. So if we could all just pay due regard to that advice. Move on then to disclosures of personal or prejudicial interest. Are there any? Yes.
Yes, Leader. Item 7. I'm a member of the Local Authority Governor Appointments Committee. I've got dispensation to speak but not vote.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Councillor Smith. Any others? No? Okay, we'll go on to...
Sorry, leader, there's one here.
Yep,
Yeah,
sorry.
sorry, Leader. Yeah, a personal prejudicial interest in item 7. I'll leave the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you, Councillor King. On then to the minutes of the previous meeting.
Oh, sorry, leader. Can we just do apologies as well? Apologise.
Yeah, apologies. So any apologies for today?
None, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Evans. Thank you. On then to the minutes of the previous meeting, pages 1 to 8. I've not been notified of any amendments, but happy to take them should anybody have them. If not, I'm happy to move them as a true record. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Lewis. Any, all those in favour, please, if you could show. Okay, thank you very much. That's agreed. Announcements of Leader of the Council. I have a couple this morning, and they're all, I would say, very pleasing announcements. So, first of all, I'd like to pay tribute and recognise those members who've served in the Cabinet over the last term, who will be retiring at the forthcoming election. So I just wanted, I have said in other meetings in council a few more words than I'm going to say today, but just to recognise the excellent contribution made by Councillor Clive Lloyd, Councillor Jen Rayner, Councillor Christine Richards, Councillor June Burtonshaw, Councillor Will Evans and Councillor Mary Sherwood, who've all served with distinction at various times on the Cabinet, as well as obviously serving their communities. And of course, Councillor Christine Richards and Councillor Burtonshaw, Councillor Christine Richards also served as Deputy Leader, as did Councillor Clive Lloyd. I also want to pay tribute to Councillor Mark Child and Councillor Mark Thomas, both of whom are with us today. Again, thanks to both of you for your outstanding work on this Cabinet and previous Cabinets, and for the work that you've done over many years. And as I've said before, you'll be sorely missed, all of you, as members of this council. I also wanted this morning just to say thank you and good wishes as well to our departing Chief Executive, who will be retiring just after the election. This will be Phil's last attendance as Chief Executive of this Cabinet, so I'm taking the opportunity today to say thank you to Phil. I hope I get the opportunity to say a lot more at Council in due course. But Phil, I just wanted to, on behalf of Cabinet and all of the councillors in my group, just to say thank you very, very much for everything you've done as an officer of this council for many years, through the Housing Department, regeneration, and obviously then as Chief Executive. You've been a huge support to me in your time as Chief Executive, and I just want to thank you and wish you all the best for a very long and happy retirement. And I'm sure you'll be busier in retirement even than you are now. So Phil, just best wishes from all of us, and I'll hand over to you if you'd like to say anything.
Yeah, I won't say a lot, because like you, Leader, I will have the opportunity in another place, both formally and informally, and I will be inviting members as well as officers to celebrate in a slightly less formal way. Just to say, you know, 36 years is a long time in a single organisation, but in fairness, I've found it every day to be different and interesting. I would have chosen a slightly different is to go out on, to be honest with you. It wasn't what I had planned, but today I am going to speak when you take the report, because it's incumbent on me to put a note of thanks to staff because the report you've got today is, for me, another example of your staff going the extra mile. And you can give me all the thanks that you want as chief executive, but without a brilliant staff behind you, you can never be any good. So I will, Chair, at an appropriate moment, just say thank you to the finance team for the work that they've done. Thanks.
Thank you, Phil. OK, so we'll move now on to public question time. Mr. Evans, do we have any questions submitted for today?
No questions, Leader.
OK, thank you. On then to councillor questions. Are there any councillors present who want to ask any questions today?
No councillors present other than the Cabinet.
OK, thank you, Mr. Evans. On then to our first substantive report, the local governor appointments. Councillor Smith.
Yes, thank you, Leader. Can I formally move the report? There are 2 governor appointments and I happily move them.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. I'm happy to second. Mr. Evans, if you'd like to go to the vote.
Thank you, Leader. The vote has been launched. I'll give you all a couple of moments. Okay, has anybody been unable to vote? No, all looks okay. Okay, I'm closing the poll. And that is unanimous, Leader. If you can give me a moment while I can call Councillor King back in.
Okay, thank you.
There you are, Leader. You can carry on.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll move now to our final report, which is the report on the cost of living support scheme for mandatory and discretionary elements. So members will be aware that we were the first council in Wales to provide the £150 payment to those properties in bands A to D. And as I'm sure the Chief Executive will want to say in due course, again, the team have performed an outstanding feat in making sure that some 45,000 homes that we held the bank details for, that we were able to get payments out to them very, very quickly. That leaves around 35,000 further homes where we are in the process of collecting those bank details so that we can make the £150 payments to those properties as quickly as possible. In terms of the other ones that are automatically paid in that respect are also those properties where we have bank account details where they're in any band, but they're in receipt of some form of CTRS, council tax reduction scheme. So again, that was a scheme, as you'll be aware, that was provided to us by the Welsh Government with funding that we could provide directly to properties. But again, I was very, very pleased that we were able to provide the help at the earliest possible moment to those households, because we know that bills went up significantly when the price cap changed on April the 1st. And that meant that people's energy bills rose significantly as of that point. So getting the help out really quickly was really important. And that's the reason, again, why we're taking this report today, so that we can make a decision on the discretionary elements in addition to those mandatory elements, so that we can help further groups of people. So as listed in the recommendations in the report and within the body report, you've got a proposal there that we should make discretionary payments of £150 in respect of care leavers, people with severe mental impairment, occupants of certain self-contained annexes, residents who are the sole beneficiary under 18 years of age, care home residents, people who are resident elsewhere as they are receiving care, people resident elsewhere as they are providing care, and students studying elsewhere. Other categories as well will be households occupying domestic dwellings in band F to I, for which a disability adaptation has been granted. Tenants of Swansea Council not in receipt of support from housing benefit or universal credit. So these are all of our tenants in housing, in council houses, where they would be paying the rents themselves. And of course, as part of the ongoing investment in council housing, the rents that are collected go to produce not just new homes, but better homes for people across our estates. And that's why the rent increase has been levied this year, but this more than mitigates for that rent increase. So it offsets it entirely, plus it provides some additional funds to people in those properties. And then finally, any household in Swansea Council where we can identify that they're eligible for £150 payment, and we are then keeping some further funds available, so £52,000 for fuel cost support. And we also propose, if Cabinet are so minded this morning, to add an additional £28 in addition to the £150 and target it at bands A and B properties. Now, they are the most numerous properties in Swansea. That will mean around 80% of people will get a further uplift of that £28. So again, targeted help, significant help going out to help people as they struggle with the cost of living crisis. That will mean that some households will benefit of up to £300 in Swansea, and that will be both the mandatory and local discretionary elements should Cabinet agree that today. And of course that comes on top of the help that has already been announced by Welsh Government for things like winter fuel payments or additional winter support. So again, I think a package of help which is true to what we have said for some time in terms of helping those most in need. And again, I would recommend this to Cabinet. And again, can I finally just say thank you once again to the work that Ben Smith, Jeff Dong, Julian Morgans and the team have done there in finance, and to all the workers in the finance team who not only have been brilliant during the COVID pandemic in terms of getting swathes of support out to our businesses and residents, but also have done so again as we face this cost of living crisis. So with that, I will move the report. I can see a number of hands up, so let me just go to the order you're on my screen. So I'll go to Councillor Lewis next, please.
Thank you, Leader. It gives me great pleasure to second this report. This financial support is going to be very much needed, but there are certain elements that I would like to particularly focus on and welcome the investment and the extra financial support for households with disabilities, for our council tenants who are not in receipt of benefits, and specifically the additional fund to be placed in terms of fuel cost support. I know that our hub switched on has been very successful and very well used, and this will be a very nice addition to complement the independent advice that's coming from the hub. And so I just wanted to say thanks to the team and thanks to you for introducing this, which is going to be greatly needed at this time. You know, it is a concern that households are going to fall into significant financial difficulty, but this council, I'm proud to say, is doing everything they can to support them. And so we're very, very proud to second the report today. Thank you, Leader.
Okay, Councillor Lewis, much appreciated. On then to Councillor Pugh. Oh, sorry, Councillor Lewis, did you want to second the report? Apologies if I missed that.
Yes, I have seconded it. Thank you.
Apologies. Okay, thank you. Councillor Pugh.
Yes, just to put on record my thanks really to all the officers. It's been a hard time lately for our residents and for our officers, because there's been lots of grants coming through at a very quick pace, lots of funds that they've had to, for the benefit of the people of Swansea, churn up and get them back out very, very quickly, and that has put huge pressure on staff. And I would just really like to thank everybody from, like I said, the finance team, Revs and Bens, to the poverty team, to everybody that are working together to improve lives for people of Swansea. And we know that people are pretty desperate at the moment and money is extremely tight, and this can only be a positive thing. But I would like I said, just to repeat, I'd like to thank everybody for the work behind the scenes, because this is a significant amount of work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pugh. On then Jeff Dong next. Mr. Dong.
Thank you, Leader. Just wanted to acknowledge and thank elected members for that recognition, and I'll pass on those words of thanks to my colleagues in Revs and Benefits the work they've done in discharging this grant, but also previous grants that are announced. It's reflective of their nimbleness and their grasp of the subject matter, that they can turn these things around so quickly. But I think it would be remiss of us also not to acknowledge the work of our colleagues in the IT department, who were instrumental, especially in the distribution of this grant, in their ability to manipulate and turn around the data that we hold, able to produce the backs file to make the payment that Leader referred to in his earlier introduction. So just wanted to put that on record and thank our colleagues in IT. They're an in-house team, and anecdotally, we've heard from our colleagues in Wales who rely on third-party providers. They're a number of weeks, perhaps months away from making their first payments to their citizens. So again, it would be right and proper to recognise the work of our colleagues in IT as well, Leader.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Donnan, and very appropriate for you to point that out in terms of the work that the IT department have done. And again, given that we're in the pre-election period, I won't say too much, but I absolutely agree that in-house services seem to be much more nimble and capable of providing that quick turnaround that we all need. I'll go to Phil, Mr. Roberts, for his comments.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Obviously, much has been said. But by way of context, this is a busy time of year anyway for finance colleagues as we head towards end of year. And on top of that, we're also talking about the implementation of a devilishly complex Oracle system, which throws up huge challenges. And it's the latest in a long line of grants that have been awarded at national level, with very short turnaround times, obviously quite a few related to pandemic. And the speed with which they've done this one has pretty much taken our breath away. So great thanks to colleagues, and Jeff, please do take my personal thanks to them, in not just in Finance Service Centre, but as you say, in ICT, and everyone who supported the efforts, because it's a remarkable turnaround. Very proud of all the staff. That's all I've got to say, Chair. I'll put something in the blog as well this week.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Much appreciated. Okay, David, I saw your hand up as well. Did you want to come in? No. Okay. No problem. Okay. So the report has been moved and seconded, and Mr. Evans has just shared the card. So if you could all cast your vote, please.
Okay, has anybody been unable to vote electronically? I shall move to close the poll then. And that, oh, there is one person not voted. Has anybody had a problem voting?
I have.
Who was that, sorry?
Robert Francis Davis.
Yeah, and how do you vote, Robert? Councillor Francis Davies, how do you vote? No? I'll give him one more chance before I close it then.
I think he's saying 4.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay, thank you very much. That's unanimous then, Leader.
Okay, thank you very much. Colleagues, just before we close, can I once again thank you all for your work over the last 5 years, and especially during the last 2 years where we've all faced the challenges of a COVID pandemic. I don't think, as Mr. Roberts said, I don't think any of us would have anticipated that as part of what we were doing, but I think both officers and members of this authority and our staff have shown that we were up to the task and that we have done everything we possibly could to serve Swansea to the best of our abilities and keep people safe. Can I, as Leader, thank you again for everything you've done. Obviously, I hope we're all back together working after May the 6th, and we shall see how the electorate cast their vote in a few days' time. But thank you all very much from me personally. It's been a real pleasure, and I look forward to working with you all in due course. And with that, we'll close the meeting. Thank you all very much.
Ta-ra. Thank you.